Welcome to the Selling Show, where we unpack, repack, and break down exactly how top experts sell their ideas, their value, and their services. This is your host, David Newman, and you are in the right place if you want better clients, bigger deals, and higher fees. Marketing, books, and marketing. They are the peanut butter and jelly of thought leadership. And I have Willy Wonka himself, Mr. Henry DeVries of Indie Books International. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Well, let me give you the golden ticket right away. The golden ticket is the number one marketing tool for an agency owner, a strategic consultant, an executive coach is a book. The number one sales strategy to fill that pipeline with right fit prospects is speaking about the book. It's marketing with a book and a speech. It's the 1-2 punch, as you said, the peanut butter and jelly.
All right. Well, Henry, thanks for stopping by today. This was a great episode. Tell us, where can people get in touch with you? No, I'm kidding. Yes, you did give value first, as you always do. I want to peel back the onion, though, as we start to jump into this. I'd love people to hear, because I know it, but they might not. Let's hear the Henry DeVries story. What were some interesting pit stops along the way that brought you to the work that you're doing today?
I started on the family dairy farm at the age of 6, went into management training. I told my father what I was going to do with the dairy when I inherited it. He sold. So forced out of agriculture at the age of 12, I turned to journalism and wanted to be a writer, and have worked in marketing and different positions. And 10 years ago, I started Indie Books International. We work with agency owners and strategic consultants who want to market with a book and a speech by publishing a book they are proud of. That's the key.
Yes.
The world does not need another crappy business book. We need to have books that we're proud of and we love and we get other people to love.
Very, very powerful. Well, let's dig into the agency world, because I know that you have all the battle scars, all the war stories, all of the tremendous triumphs and a couple of defeats here and there. What was your life like in the agency business? Or take us back to that time, and what was the landscape like?
When I was the president of a large advertising and PR agency, I used to make big plans and watch them go horribly wrong. Now I write about marketing and I write books about agency owners and what they to do with marketing. So I joined an advertising agency in San Diego and doubled their revenues, rose to be the number 2 person in the agency, and got us into the Ad Age 500. We were 498. And my job was not to let us slide back to be 501. So that's what I did. We grew the agency. We had a super niche. Our super niche was real estate. So we had big master plan communities and big developers. And those are whale clients. You can feed on that whale for a year or years. And then I diversified and went into the hospitality field. And that was also big. And so we could have something for the ups and downs of real estate and doing that. And one day I figured out it would be better to own my own small agency than to run someone else's large agency. Because when you run someone else's company, your job is to bring bags of gold to the owner. And the owner says, not enough gold, more gold, bigger bags. And that keeps going. Much better to control your own fate as an agency owner. So I created my own, ran that for 20 years, and really figured out who I liked the most helping were fellow agency owners, fellow strategic consultants, by getting a book they'd be proud of and showing them how to promote the book. So my motto, David, was publishing a book is the starting line, not the finish line. It's a marathon. And what are you doing on a consistent basis to get people to love your book? Just as you get people to love do it marketing, do it selling, do it speaking, great brand.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's very interesting, the agency business. I'm guessing, unlike a lot of other types of business owners, an agency founder, they probably started small, maybe even solo, and they started because they have that creative spark. They love creativity, they love design, they love creating things that are useful and beautiful and commercially successful. Unlike a plumber, nothing wrong with plumbers. Plumbers,
No.
if you're listening, I love you. And I still have that squeak on the hot water, but that's a separate thing.
Sure.
Plumbers start their business because they like plumbing. So you say to a plumber, hey, you want to write a book? Plumber's like, what are you talking about? You say to an agency owner who has this creative DNA and who wants to share and who wants to make things and who wants to sort of, advance the ideas, the marketplace of ideas in their industry. Is it a natural fit for an agency owner to want to have a book? And tell us about what are some of the DNA markers of an agency owner or a strategic consultant who might be listening and they've had this idea maybe rolling around in their head. Should I write a book? Should I not write a book? Do I have to write a book? Would it be fun to write a book? What does it mean to have written a book? What are some DNA markers that would indicate green light, you should write a book?
Well, most agency owners are accidental business owners, and they could be making more money working for someone else. So it's the old joke about being an entrepreneur. You'll work 80 hours for yourself so you don't have to work 40 hours for someone else. So they have that independent spark too. And they've risked it all. They're all in, like in the poker terms. And to people in their lives, like their spouse and other people, they need to prove that they made the right move. So in my research, I found 2 out of 3, their number one pain is not enough new business. They need to keep the dry sales business pipeline flowing with right fit prospects. They'll all tell me stories of clients from hell. They have no problem attracting clients from hell. What they want are those right fit clients. 50% tell me, and we don't have enough time to run the business, to do the creative, and to do business development. So they're looking for something. And then, they are very smart. They're high wattage. They have something to say. They're not just doing the marketing. And no offense to plumbing, but I don't think anybody's invented something new in plumbing in a long time. But these people are actually at the cutting edge and inventing new things on digital marketing and SEO and client attraction strategies and all sorts of things. And they have a natural sort of teacher bent to them, and they want to share this knowledge that they have. It's about gaining more credibility to help the business. It's about more impact and more influence. It's also, though, a proactive path and a plan for more right fit clients. So they see the book as something that could be their cornerstone content, that they blog about, that they do their podcasts about. They can be thought followers for their industry and share that knowledge. And it's not a vanity project, but they know as the leader of this business, they need to take that leadership position and sell with an authority. So they need to do authority marketing.
Nice. I want to go back to this right fit clients because you mentioned that you've hit on that a couple of different times. And of course, this I think is the secret sauce, really, of any kind of lead generation. Because if we don't dial this in, we are wasting all kinds of time with bad prospects, bad fit, no budget, no need, no desire, no cultural fit, no understanding and appreciation of what that agency owner brings to the table or what their agency brings to the table. It is the recipe for a micromanaging, nitpicking, price shopping, nightmare client from hell. Not that I have strong feelings about this in my business, but I do. So what can we put in the book, in the title, in the jacket copy, in the table of contents that literally knocks on the forehead of that right fit client and says, hey, this is for you, and similarly takes the bad fit clients off the playing field?
So I'll do it as the smarmy author. Well, David, in chapter 5 of my book, marketing with a book for agency owners. I cover the 10 criteria you need to find a right fit client. Okay. Yeah. So the serious answer on it is first start with a super niche. And I have the hardest time convincing people because they think I want to be interesting to more people. And I say, no, you want to be interesting to less people, but more intensely interesting to that group. So agency owners, I'm talking about people with 5 to 200 employees, small to mid-sized agencies. It's very clear who those people are. And I'm in ecosystems with other people who serve the needs of that group. And we cross-pollinate and we cross-promote. And this person does research studies and this person does HR. And I'm the book guy for agency owners, small to mid-sized agency owners. So it all works together like that. The next thing is being clear on what you don't do. And people say, no, we don't do that. One of the people in my ecosystem, people will say, well, could you do this? And she could do it. But she says, no, we don't do that. We do this. That's part of the right fit client. I also wrote in my newsletter today, that's kind of smarmy author talk too. In my newsletter today, I mentioned toxic clients and how to avoid toxic clients. And they give us all kinds of signals in the negotiation. They want to change our contract. They want to put other things in. They want to change our terms. They want a deal. They want, these are all red flags that's not a right fit client. And just like hiring a new employee, their actions tell you what they're going to be like. This is them on their best behavior. So it's the same thing with a prospect or working with them. This is on their best behavior. If you don't like them on their best behavior, wait till they become a client.
The mantra is, if the dating doesn't go well, the marriage will not improve. Typically.
I like it. Though the HR department says I'm not supposed to use dating or marriage metaphors anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Luckily, there's no HR department here on the show, however.
Good,
so
good.
You're safe with me. You're safe with me.
Because I used to say, well, let's start dancing and see if romance develops. And HR said, no.
You can't do that in 2023. I am so upset. About what's going on. But that's a separate podcast. That's for me.
My father, when he was in business, his role model was his uncle. And his uncle used to give chiclets, little gum to children. My dad wanted to do that. He said, Dad, you cannot give candy and gum to little children anymore. Yeah. Why not? I'm sorry, just can't. So anyway, times change.
The times, they are changing for sure. Yes. So let's talk about the second half of this equation, because you said we're going to write a book. As an agency, it's going to have our perspective, our opinions, what's right with the world, what's wrong with the world, the people that we serve, the people that we don't, the world according to us. And hopefully this is going to be of tremendous value and relevance to the right fit clients that will read the book. Then you said, hey, let's pour some gas on the fire. It's great to have a book. It's great to have a good book, a very good book. It's great to have a best-selling book. Best-selling book is not going to sell your agency services. You going out and speaking on the ideas, and again, that could be in person, that could be on Zoom, that could be webinars, that could be seminars, that could be all kinds of things. Give us kind of the quick recipe or prescription for a healthy speaking regimen that supports the book and that supports the agency's rainmaking opportunities.
So what I tell people is we do not wait to be discovered. We're not sitting on the stool in the Hollywood pharmacy waiting for the talent agent to come and discover us. So we have to go out there. I have the magnificent 7 things I recommend. There's a great book called 1001 Ways to Market Your Book, and that's the problem. There are 1001 ways to market your book. Here's the most pragmatic 7. 1, put on your own small-scale seminars, or I even prefer to do monthly Q&As, where I'll talk for 10 minutes, and then it's an open forum. And, a community's there. There's no sales pitch or anything, but we're constantly out there inviting people to hear what we have to say and then ask questions and build a community. Number 2 is at least 2 what we call sampling, or you're out there giving it away. So you're on podcasts like this one. Hey, look, I'm doing it now. You're doing virtual speeches. You're actually getting on people's stage and speaking. So you're talking about the book and helping people. Number 3 is do your own publishing, do a LinkedIn newsletter every week. I've gone from 0 to 1,900 subscribers in the first half of this year. So people every week who want to know what I have to say. Well, what I have to say is chopped up from the book and other articles. I'm recycling this, but it's new to them and it's in bite-sized pieces. Number 4, find a target-rich group. For agency owners, for me, it's the Agency Management Institute, AMI. I go to their meetings and conferences, and I also speak there, but I gather with these people. Number 5 is network at them. So you network and build an ecosystem of other people and help them out. 6th is YouTube videos. Do YouTube videos, how-to videos, chop it up into 2 minutes. I do a weekly TV show. It's 15 minutes and we have a 1-minute trailer and we get experts on and share that. Shine the spotlight on other people and that'll reflect on you. And number 7, actually put on a paid event where people would pay you hundreds of dollars to hear what you have to say. And the reason they'll pay you is you're going to give them information on how they compare to their peers, about how they spend money, where they put their energy, all these things that they do. And how do you get that? Well, you're a researcher. You do it. You're not going to tell what one client does or what another prospect does. You're going to aggregate the data and say 37% of the people are doing this. 2/3 of the people are going away from that. That was my book, Rainmaker Confidential. When the pandemic hit, I interviewed 100 successful rainmakers at agencies and consulting firms and said, now, what are you doing with the pandemic to make it rain? What are you going away from? What are you not spending money on? What are you spending more money on? And they were happy to share it and gave me permission to share it in the book.
Wow. So that original research, and in your case with that book, Henry, that was one-on-one personal interviews that you then sort of aggregated and pulled some data together from.
Yes. And I wrote that up in columns for Forbes.com. I did articles in my newsletter and my weekly tips. So I used the information in several places and then boiled it down. So I always say, you're not marketing with a book after the book comes out. You're marketing with a book as you're writing the book. And an expert is always talking about their next book. So when the book comes out. So my next book is The Agency Rainmaker. So I'm doing in-depth research on just specifically on these agency rainmakers and what they're doing these days to make it rain.
Very nice. Yeah, it really is a before, during, and after, and then long after the book comes out.
Yes.
And I love the concept of like always be marketing or pre-marketing the next book. Yeah.
Can I tell you, I've written 20 books and my books are my children. People ask, which is your favorite? And I said, well, my books are like my children. And like my children, I expect them to take care of me in my old age.
Exactly. Are you loving this interview as much as I am? Holy smokes. Hey, you know what this reminds me of? There's a fantastic sales book that you got to get your hands on right here, right now. It's called Do It Selling. How do I know it's great? Well, I wrote it and you need to read it. Pop over right now to doitselling.com. Now, back to our interview. So we talked about the book. We talked about the 7 magic strategies for speaking around the book. In your estimation, because we talked about sort of a series of books and always be focused on the next book, do you sometimes find with your authors who are also agency owners that they don't really maximize the platform and the reach of the current book, and they're too quick to jump to Henry, let's do a second book, but they've only taken maybe 20% of the benefit that that first book has in latent potential?
For the first year of your book coming out, I say you've got to give a lot of love to that book.
Mm-hmm.
You should be giving a lot of love to that book. You're talking about your next book. You're researching it. That's exciting, but you're giving a lot of love to your current book. And you don't waste the opportunities. It's your cornerstone content. So you need to be blogging on that book. You need to be doing articles on that book. You need to be doing a lot of talks on that book. chapters are talks. Oh, well, chapter 5, I was interviewed on what are the 10 criteria to find a right fit client. I'm doing my effective radio podcaster voice there.
Very nice.
So there's, thank you. You got to keep up with the jokes, son. So there's so much more that you can go in depth, and they're not milking that cow for all the milk is in the cow. You need to milk that cow.
Totally. Now, you said something, and we skated over it quickly because I know that you've really mastered this and you've had a lot of success with it for many, many years. But I want to slow down, and I want you to explain to us, please, the webinar, the video, the Q&A session with no selling. No selling, no pitch, no offer, no program. Tell us about the non-selling selling that you have really mastered.
Thank you. So I use the phrase all the time. This is a no selling zone. And when you attend one of my events, I might offer you a no selling strategy session. And I will help people with their goals, uncover hidden assets they have, tell them how to get around roadblocks they identify, tell them how other people have gotten from where they are to where they want to go. And sometimes they're waiting for the shoe to drop where I'm going to bring out my offer for my 16 session coaching program and my CDs and my DVDs and it's not going to happen. I said, no, it's not there. You're smart enough, and so are your prospects are smart enough to figure out if you are in their best interest, they will ask you about that. And when they ask me on a strategy call, I say, oh, well, that's another call. We call that a meaningful conversation. I'm happy to schedule that with you. But here I was just being helpful. But I'll be upfront. Oh, price ranges from here to here and all that. But we'll have to have a meaningful conversation, and I'll give you every detail you want.
So after they take advantage of the Q&A, the webinar, the strategy session, you're really leaving it in their court to ask, Henry, how do I work with you? Henry, how does book coaching work? Henry, how can you help me publish my book? You're literally leaving it to them. If they ask, you set up the separate, meaningful conversation. If they don't ask, you don't bring it up ever.
I was taught, and I taught insurance agents how to sell, that you're always asking for the order. I found in the business of expertise, the worst thing you can do is ask for the order. It poisons the water. You just say, is there anything else I can do? Is there any else way I can help you? People call me and they're like, oh, I don't want to bother you, but I have this one question. Ask away. So being relentlessly generous is our brand. Our brand is generosity, family, and fun. Family is talking about our 150 authors that we have published, that we get together regularly. They can even get together on a monthly basis to cross-promote each other. Fun is our fun meter. If it's not fun, we don't do it because there's no energy in if it's not fun.
Yeah.
So I find speaking fun. I find helping people fun. And those are the core values for people we bring on our team, that if you don't think it's fun to help people, then it's not a good fit for you.
Yeah.
You should do that.
So this is, I'm going to go meta here because this is just fascinating to me, especially if I'm personifying an agency owner. So I come to you, I say, Henry, we're going to write a book. It's going to be important for thought leadership. You're the go-to guy. Let's write the book. Now, remember, the agency owner who is your author and your client, they're in the business of lead generation, Facebook ads, YouTube, search engine optimization, lead magnets, generating leads for their clients, generating inbound activity. Some of the agencies also do inbound and outbound.
Yeah.
And now your advice to them is, don't do any of that. Don't do any of that for yourself as the agency owner. If you want to build trust, if you want to build a community, if you want to build a following, you're recommending to them this non-selling version of selling, which is sort of opposite what they've been trained to do and what they've mastered to do for their clients. Am I correct?
It is correct. And the differentiation is, if you sell something that costs thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, there's a totally different psychology than that plumber who's going to, my last plumbing bill was $1,600. But, the pest control guy is going to charge you $200. Different psychology in it. The other one is awareness, interest, desire, action, the AIDA formula, and get out there. If you're doing, high paying client work, as the Harvard Business Review talks about, it's a trust marketing play. What you're doing is you're offering all those things for them to get information on how to solve their problems in general. So they can attend your Q&A. You're going to do this special class. I do a $365 class. And if you don't get comped into that class, you're not trying hard. All you have to do is talk to any one of our authors. And if they use their name, I comp you into the class. So let people hook you up. And there's real value. And people do pay money, and I'm happy to cash the checks. So you have to give value all the time and be relentless in giving the value. And then when you say all those things that you said at the end, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I'll say, well, thank you for asking. I'm pausing 3 seconds for dignity and then say, thank you for asking. Why don't we have a strategy call first? This guy today said, okay, well, I did your strategy call. Now will you have this other call with me? Because I want to hire you.
Please take my money.
It's like, why are you making me have 2 calls? Well, actually, you have to have 3 calls, because at the end of that call, I said, I'm going to give it to you in writing. I don't want a decision right now. Read it and then ask me questions. I got to have a 3rd call? Yeah. One agency owner, and I'm in San Diego. She was in Kansas City. She had heard about me, heard good things about me. Says, I'm going to be at a conference. Will you meet me in the hotel lobby? And we can have a beverage and we can talk about this. So sure, I come down, I meet her an hour. I talk to her for an hour. And she says, okay, I'm in. I want to do this. Let's go. I said, nope. She said, nope. I said, no, too soon. I'm just some guy you met in the lobby bar. You need to get this in writing from me. You need to vet me with people who've worked with me, people who are on record that everything I said is true. So sometimes it's playful. I had one guy, I don't know if we have time for this sales. This is a selling show, right?
It is.
So let me tell the story. So this person brings me in and I said, okay, I'll have that second meeting with you, but you're the person who's going to make the decision. I'm the person. I'm the president. I make the decision. So I come in, I'm having that second meeting. We're midway through it. And 2 people walk into the meeting, sit at the conference table, don't introduce themselves, fold their hands, and are there. And I'm going on and I figure well, he's not going to introduce me. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to say, hi, let me introduce myself. I'm Henry DeVries. We know who you are. I said, oh, great. Who are you? We're the financial partners. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, since you're here, I got to ask a question, because I found out that 75% of your business comes from one client. I said, that's true. I said, what would happen if that one client called you and said they're switching their business? We'd have to make changes. I said, really? What kind of changes? And they said, well, there'd be layoffs. Oh, about how many people would you have to lay off? They gave me the number. I said, tell you what, this is so important. You don't need to hire me. Take me out to lunch next week. Buy me a burrito, and I'll tell you everything you need to do for the price of the burrito. They came unhinged. They said, wait a minute. We've seen something in writing. Now, you said you would do this. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, you said you would do all these things for us. I said, yeah. Well, what do you want me to do? We want you to do that. I said, well, what would that look like? He said, well, you'd send us an invoice today. And I said, okay, if I sent you the invoice, what would happen? We would pay the invoice today and you'll start tomorrow. I said, is that what you want? Yes. I said, well, okay, I think this meeting's concluded. I'll send the invoice and we'll start tomorrow.
All righty. I have not had that much fun on this show in quite a long time, Henry. So thank you. So I want to get back to your premise, which I totally endorse and embrace. People are smart. Now, people are smart. They know there's something for sale. They probably know the business that you're in. They've probably done a little bit of homework on you. Yet, as I see you out there in the wild and, digitally stalking my friend here, you do repeat and reinforce. Hey, everybody, it's Henry DeVries from Indie Books International. We help agency owners and strategic consultants write books that they're proud of and blah, blah, blah. So you're always reinforcing the what and the who and the why, and then you get to the content. So someone that wanders in, I love the story about the two financial people just kind of wandering in. Someone wanders in sight unseen, or someone says, hey, I'm going to this Q&A with Henry. He's awesome. You should come in. They're like, who the hell's Henry? So they're not going to have time to research. They're not going to have time to go to your website. They're not going to have time to read any of your 20 books. You have to give it kind of a capsule summary at the beginning of almost every interaction and say, this is who I am. This is who I help. This is what I do. Okay, let's go. For those folks that are new, in case you didn't know, right? That's what I do. And now let's get to the good stuff. And 20 seconds, I'm talking 20 seconds here. Do you find that literally that is enough to build the tribe and build the following and build the buzz and the referral network because people are smart? And are you telling me that is literally all you do after giving all this value and every time you give all this value?
Well, thank you. We call that the XYZ statement, your defining statement.
Okay.
I work with X to get Y. Who wants Z? And the Z is the emotion part of it. So books you are proud of. When I landed on that, I saw people like, oh, books I'm proud of. And then they told stories about crappy business books. Their words, not mine.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the basic message you have to repeat over and over again, defining you. When I don't need a 30-minute elevator pitch when I stand up and just say, this is who I am. So I do several speaking engagements a month that are stealth speaking engagements. I attend other people's Q&A sessions, and I'm an attentive student. And when they say, are there any questions? I say, oh, I have a question, or I've written it in chat. And it's, hi, I'm Henry DeVries. I run a company called Indie Books International, and we help agency owners with books. My question is, it doesn't matter what your question is. You just gave a speech.
You gave the XYZ, and now everyone in that room knows who you are and what you do.
Yeah. And in the chat, you leave your contact information. So you're never giving a sales pitch. I do a lot in chat that supports the speaker. You know, they say something great. I put what David Newman said, put it in quotes and say David Newman.
Right.
And do other things that are supportive. Asking questions is supportive because that's the thing. Like everybody's greatest fear is I'm going to do a Q&A. I'm going to say, are there any questions?
Yeah.
Crickets. And I've taught at the university level. So I know like you got to prime the pump for questions.
Right. So totally.
I teach my authors, join these groups, these communities, be supportive, be generous to other people. Say you are. I was taken out to lunch over the weekend by somebody who was in one of these groups. And he said, you know, you are like a TA in the group. You're like the professor's teaching, but you're the TA helping everybody. Right. You know, and you put links to articles. You know, if they mention some article, well, I'll go look up the article, put the link in the chat so people have it. So that's part of all that. So that's what you're doing in planting those seeds. You also need your content. That's why you need the book for when people want to read the book. But I'll give your viewers here a dirty little secret. People who buy your book will come up to you and say, David, I have your book, which is code for it's sitting on a stack on the credenza, and I'm going to get to it one day. But I did like the idea of the book and all that. Well, it's still okay. They know you're the expert. Right. And I've landed clients from people who just know I wrote a book. They never read the book. They never heard me speak on the book. But, oh, you're the person who wrote Marketing with a Book for Agency Owners. Okay.
Holy smokes, so much value in this episode. Listen, if you are loving what you're hearing, feel free to download, subscribe, tell a friend, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to The Selling Show. Now, back to the interview. Well, this also, I mean, it's totally in line with what I've seen as observational truth as well. I do a lot of webinars, as you know. Yeah. And I think we've even had this conversation, you and I, about, you know, you promote a webinar and like you're not happy with the attendance of the webinar, or you're not happy with, you know, not enough people booked a call or bought your thing. There have been people that have come to me. They might have signed up for a webinar, but honestly, they might not have. I'm just known as, oh, you're the guy that does all those great webinars.
Yeah.
Have you been to one? No. Have you watched a replay of them? No. But I like the titles. I like the bullets. You clearly know what you're talking about. So it's almost like the book that doesn't matter, the webinar that doesn't matter, the Q&A that doesn't matter. I mean, it does, because the people who attend should get tremendous value. The people who read the book should get tremendous value. But you will attract people who have never interacted with the substance of your content, but they will come to you because they know you have a reputation for creating that content.
And you glean things from this. You learn it and share it. Do It Selling. I've been using, if you'd be open to an invitation to attend an event right out of the book, these are magic words and phrases. We always should be studying to get better. But it also surprises me, and I've got 20 books out there, when people say, well, I've read your book and I want to talk about chapter 7. And I'm thinking, like, you bought my book? You read my book? For some reason, I kind of divorced myself from that.
Right.
Just my job is to send it out into the universe, as we say in California. The Lord helps those who help themselves, as they say down south.
For sure. And so the author's job here is not to act surprised or shocked, like, really? You bought my book? What?
Yeah.
So as we're landing this plane here, I would love to kind of get an overarching thought or concept or takeaway for every agency owner, every strategic consultant who is listening to our voices right now. What is the big takeaway about marketing with a book and a speech that they should absolutely remember and absolutely implement?
The secret to agency marketing is not the manipulation of prospects to get them to show up and say, I must hear more about what you're doing. The secret sauce is to create an authority position, claim a super niche, research, actually interview these people, read every study you can about them, read every other book about this, and then give them information that helps them solve their biggest problems in general. They will hire you for the specifics.
Oh, gold mine right there. Henry DeVries, how can people get connected and stay connected to more of your brilliance? What resources, what links, what can we share in the show notes?
Thank you for asking. 3 things. One is they can go to indiebooksintl.com/learning center. So a lot of articles and videos to help people there. And it's indie, INDIE, books, INTL.com. The second thing is I have a weekly LinkedIn newsletter, the Agency Rainmaker. So it's free to subscribe to that. And every week I'll give you a business development tip and a story to help you find more right fit clients.
Awesome. And all of those goodies, all of those resources will be directly under this episode at thesellingshow.com. Henry DeVries, I appreciate you so much, my friend. I call a lot of people my friend, but you and I have been friends for about 15 years or so. So I genuinely appreciate you. And thank you for sharing your brilliance.
Thank you so much. The next time, that Philadelphia pork sandwich is on me. Gino's pork sandwich on me.
There you go. That's a date, buddy. All right. Okay. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
And that wraps up another episode of The Selling Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, tell a friend, go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thesellingshow.com. See you next time.